live. Let's see. All right, everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. As you can see, you probably know Joe Walsh, former congressman, former member of the Tea Party until the party went its crazy way, and Joe stayed not crazy, and here he is. And I'm Edwin Eisendrath, former Chicago alderman and the host of this. It's the Democracy Stupid Substack, and we're going to just talk a little bit about where we find ourselves. And Joe, where do we find ourselves? I mean, every week the Republicans do something outrageous. What's your candidate for outrage of the week? I have a couple I can't decide between.
I'll give you one in a second, but before we start, I wanna say it's so damn good to be with you. For everybody tuning in who's a Joe Walsh subscriber, you ought to subscribe to Edwin Eisendrath. He's a great follow. Substack. Still a young man. He's like 25 or 6 years old. I'm lying, but we both hail from Chicago, and Edwin, from a long, long time ago, was always one of the leading voices and Democratic thinkers in Chicago. And Chicago would be a better place if you had been mayor one day. Illinois would be a better place, my friend, if you had been governor one day. It's an honor to be with you, because I've always been a big fan, even if I disagreed with you on things. I've always been a really big fan of how you went about your business.
Joe, I really appreciate that. And, you know, I'm the governor thing. I ran for governor against a criminal in my own party. Just, right. I was happy to do it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It worked out. I had a great life. He went to jail. I'm here with you. Trump pardoned him. I mean,
How about that, though? That Trump pardoned
or commuted, whatever he did.
Whatever. Yeah. God. I guess my outrage of the week, and it's always hard to pick one, but I'm still so angry about what Texas is doing. And Edwin, I'm really pissed off that a lot of the American people don't understand how unprecedented and dangerous it is. Even a lot of folks on the left will say, Joe, everybody gerrymanders. That's not the point. Everybody does whatever they do every 10 years at the end of every decade. To do this mid-decade redistricting, crazy. This is scary shit.
Yeah. I think that's really the most important story for sure of what they're doing. And we should spend more time on it. But I will tell you what I was outraged about. It may be a little thing, but the idea that J.D. Vance thinks he can tell the government to change the flow of the Ohio River so he can have a better canoe trip is just like monarchical crap that is beyond imagination. And that was my runner-up, because I think the worst one was Donald Trump saying there are 2 satellites that the United States has that measure climate change, and I want to take them both. I want to shoot them both out of the atmosphere. Are you kidding me? Neither is as important as the gerrymandering one you're talking about, but it's just examples of outrage, of crazy behavior.
Well, in a way, they're both important, especially Trump shooting down those satellites, because this goes to, and I speak to people around Trump, he really believes he can do anything he wants to do. Like, he believes he's utterly unaccountable to anybody. That's why he's a lot more dangerous now, I think, than he was in the first term. What's your thought on that?
Well, John Roberts shares that belief. John Roberts is responsible for this, right?
Yes. But that J.D. Vance story, my friend, I think a lot of people, even listening to us right now, haven't heard of that. But it really is pretty egregious. Who did he ask to do it? Like,
I think the Army
to raise the water level.
They change the water. And the Ohio River that's not a little dinky river. That's like one of the biggest rivers in the world. And he changed the flow of that river so you get a better canoe trip. Are you kidding me? These guys, I mean, and remember, and this is the same administration that dumped water out of an aquifer in Northern California,
Yeah.
pretending they were helping fires in Southern California. But it's just reckless, selfish behavior that we got no place for.
And stupid behavior. Why knock down that satellite? Because climate change is a hoax. His base believes that. And the economy right now isn't doing real well. And I got this Epstein files thing. So I got to keep doing shit to get their mind off of those two things.
Joe, that's a really good point. Every week there are outrages, and a lot of these outrages are, uh, I guess they think of them as the price of doing business. Let's just be outrageous and take the hit for this so that nobody looks over there at what we're really doing.
I don't know. Maybe you and I disagree on this, and welcome everybody. Come on in. It's so great to be here with Edwin Eisendrath. And if you're subscribed to me, subscribe to him. Great follow, great guy. Dude, like, I think Trump's an idiot. And I'll get into arguments with others who disagree with that.
Right?
But if he has any kind of strategy, it's always been every single day, throw 1,000 pieces of dog shit against the wall and just kind of numb us all.
Right.
Did you agree with that?
I think he thrives in chaos and he creates it as much as he can just to see where his lane could possibly be and to keep us and not just chaos, but painful and ugly chaos because it's so distracting. And then he can find his advantage, which he does, and finds his own personal advantage.
What? And then the question for us is, and as a 2-month-old Democrat, you a Democrat for a lot longer, I don't think the party has ever figured out how to deal with him and that.
Yeah, well, I think they're doing a better job than the press, but
yes,
it's
great
still
point.
a long way to go, right? I think they're vulnerable right now. I think if I was saying like where's the GOP most vulnerable? The people hate cheating. The stuff you're talking about in Texas, people hate all over the country. I mean, we all want to win, but cheating is cheating. And the tariff, the new tariff regime began this week. It's going to be awful, and they own it. But it hasn't happened yet. I think they're still most vulnerable on Epstein. And I would say Democrats need to keep hammering and say, like, where's the money? It's $1 billion in transactions. Like, what's that about? Let's get to the bottom of it.
Before I respond to that, just on the Texas thing, I agree with you. It's cheating. They're cheating.
Mm-hmm.
But then aren't we, as Democrats, supposed to say, fuck it, we're the party of good government, but not right now. We got to go toe to toe and do the same. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, there are places where I won't go. That's not one of them. I mean, this is the same argument with big money, and right? The Democrats would make all this dark PAC money illegal, but you can't unilaterally disarm.
No.
Right? And the gerrymandering thing is similar. It's terrible for democracy. We would make it illegal, but we can't make it illegal if we don't have power. So let's go down there. The one thing, the area where we can't follow them into the sewer is we can't abandon reality. We can't start lying about everything, because then we got nothing to fight for anymore. So
that's a great point. We have to counter their lies with the truth.
Yep.
I think, my friend, he's most vulnerable when it comes to, I do think Epstein's real, but to me, he's most vulnerable when it comes to cruelty, i.e. what he's doing, disappearing immigrants off of our streets. I think that's a real vulnerability, and I do think he's fucked up the economy. He was single-handedly given
the best,
the strongest in the post-COVID industrialized world.
Yeah, the strongest ever of any country ever.
So,
and it took 6 months to fuck it up.
Yeah. And I engage with his base daily because I come from his base.
Yep.
And they'll let him lie to them about everything. The election, the 2020 election, they're eating cats and dogs. But when Trump tries to lie to them about the economy, it's not going to work because they live the economy. So when that truck costs more and the eggs cost more and your brother lost his job because of these stupid tariffs. I don't know how Trump lies about that and it works. So I
Yeah,
think that's ultimately going to hit him.
yeah. I mean, he owns this. This can't be Obama's fault. This can't be Hillary's fault. He owns this. And by the way, a lot of, young Americans, and that's not you and me.
Yeah.
I mean, Obama's ancient history to them.
Oh my
Hillary's
God.
who were the Clintons? Were they part of the Civil War? I mean, this is, young people Americans don't do history very well. So,
Right.
right?
But
He owns it.
blows me away because I campaigned a lot last year for Kamala. I spent a lot of time on college campuses,
Yeah.
and I was blown away by these college students. They don't remember Obama. They didn't vote for Obama. All
Right.
they've known is this Trump era.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Wow.
Right. I mean, imagine that for them.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Utterly dysfunctional. Yeah.
So he's not going to be able to blame anybody else. They own this, and these three topics that you've raised, um, uh, this radical gerrymandering in the middle of a decade, uh, the pain of the new economy that he's created with tariffs. You know, eh, the,
By, by the way, my friend, play out because you're smarter about shit like this than I am. Play out the mid-decade redistricting. I mean, just imagine the Pandora's box that would open. If this happens, then any party that like Republicans could just do this before any election, any 2-year cycle, just literally change someone's representation. I don't know how you sustain a democracy with that.
You don't, right? You don't, and it probably violates some due process rights because the data they're using is old anyway now. But John Roberts again closed the door on gerrymandering cases and said go for it. So he once again gave us this like the dark money. But you know what? I mean, Texas runs a risk because they radically gerrymandered when they could. They're going to turn a bunch of 18-point Republican districts into 12-point Republican districts in order to add a few more, and they might not keep all of those. So they run a risk. And Illinois, California, New York, we got a lot of Republicans in our states. A lot of them. California gave Trump the second biggest vote total he ever had. Right? If you want every one of those Republicans disenfranchised, blame Texas.
So watch, because we're starting to hear from congressional Republicans in New York and elsewhere saying what Texas is doing is bad.
Yes, right, because their seats are in real trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you've been through this. It's time for us to say, I'm sorry, you want these rules? I mean, I'm from Chicago. You know this part of the world. They've been bringing a knife. It's time to bring the gun, right? Like, we're in this fight.
So if you and I sat down, my Democratic brother, and went over the top 30 public policy issues, we'd probably disagree on half of them. I'm still a fairly conservative Dem. But one of the main reasons I became a Democrat 2 months ago was just to help show the Democrats how to fucking fight.
Yep.
I mean, in my old Tea Party days, I was a jerk, but I wasn't a fighter. I always fought the establishment. Democrats really need to get this gene, Edwin, this fighting gene.
Well, some of us have it, and
you do.
I think people are beginning to find it. And I mean, even old Chuck Schumer this last week, right? For the first time, they said, give us these nominees. And he said, okay, we'll spend the money that we allocated the way you're supposed to spend it. And they didn't, you know what? And they complained, they whined, they left town, they didn't get it. So I think they're beginning to figure out. And you know what I think? It's kind of fun when you fight back.
Yes. It's a lot of fun. It's analogous to me. Like, I think the Dems are having they need to have their Tea Party moment. Different on substance, but the Tea Party was an anti-establishment thing.
Yeah.
And again, like Mamdani, you and I probably disagree with him on a number of issues.
Yeah.
But But my God, I embrace him if I'm asking him to embrace me as a Democrat.
Yep. I mean, the tent is big, and we have people on the left and in the right in this coalition that they don't fit comfortably together for sure. And some of them are trying to prove their bona fides by picking on the others, which is a dumb idea. I mean,
Yeah.
Reagan was pretty smart about like Republicans shouldn't speak ill of their own. It worked for
Mhm.
them. I think Democrats have to figure that out. And the voters in New York will do what they do. New York is not the whole country. New York's New York, and they'll figure it out.
Hey, that's a great point. And Democrats need to figure that out, that this is a big, diverse country. You and I are old enough. We remember that ancient species called the Southern Democrat.
Yeah,
Like
sure do.
we, right? We got to get that back. Mamdani couldn't win in Kentucky or South Carolina, but Joe Walsh couldn't win in New York City or probably Chicago. That's okay.
It's
We
fine.
need them all. Yeah.
And we need space I mean, the reason why a democracy works is it finds ways to take our disagreements and figure out amongst us what we can all live with and move forward. Right.
Can I pick your brain?
Mm,
Um,
for what it's worth. Yeah.
it's worth a lot. And by the way, everybody listening, punch those red hearts. That does something to the algorithm, but just do it. And subscribe to Edwin Eisendrath on Substack. So you and I
By the
agree
way,
that Donald,
subscribe to
what?
Joe too. I mean, and
Yes,
follow him on social media.
make sure you're subscribed to both of us. Donald Trump is a thoroughly horrible human being, but he won again in November. What's your biggest criticism of the Democratic Party? How the hell did that happen?
Well, Joe, I had a lot of things I liked about Joe Biden and what he got done, but his political leadership left us in a terrible place.
Mm.
From day one, he should have been talking about the crap he inherited, the miserable economy, the piled up corpses from his management of COVID, and every day left buried him. Buried him. I mean, Hubert Hoover wasn't the worst president in the world. Why do we know about Hooverville, right? But
Yeah.
all the country because buried by a great politician in FDR. Joe should have buried him, and Joe shouldn't have run again. And we should have had a primary. And if we'd had a primary, then early on, then there would have been plenty of attention to Democrats and what they say. Instead, there was no attention except to Donald Trump playing the victim as he was convicted of 34 felonies.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all spot on. And it gave a lot of voters who were pissed about a lot of stuff that Trump did against democracy. I heard from a lot of voters that would say, oh, Joe, they're all bad on democracy. Look at what Biden and Harris did. They didn't even have a primary, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it gave fodder to voters to think, oh, they all suck.
Yeah, it was a problem. I really do. I mean, again, I think some of the things that Democrats got passed with a very slim majority were good for the country. I really do. And I mean, particularly on climate change. Oh my gosh, really important, good stuff that's all been undone. Um,
He had
yeah,
you'd agree with this. Biden had a more consequential first 4 years than Obama did, right? In his first term.
yeah,
Biden got a lot done.
he got a lot. I mean, Obama's an interesting case. He got the ACA passed, but for me, I can't imagine the burden of being the first black president of the United States. I think he
Yeah.
probably had a narrower window in which to act than most presidents. There are a lot of things that I didn't love. I mean, I think the country would have been a lot better off if some of the bankers who gave us that terrible financial crisis went to goddamn jail, Joe.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
didn't, Americans thought the system was rigged. It's related to
Yeah.
why they're upset about Epstein. It's related to why they voted for Trump because they're like, we didn't hold people accountable for this ravaging of our economy. And
Yes.
that happened when Barack was president.
Yes. And it's contributed to this anti-establishment populist moment we've been in for a while.
Yep.
That's how Trump's won twice. Look, you go back to 2016, my friend. Bernie captured a lot of that populism
You do.
too.
I got to ask
still
you as a
s
Tea Party guy, because
Yeah.
the Tea Party movement happened sort of because of the collapse in when the economy tanked in the Great Recession. And I wonder if Democrats had prosecuted the bankers and had really gone after them, whether the Tea Party would have found a different home.
Yes. By the way, that's a great question that I've never been asked as a Tea Party guy.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, because
Yeah.
a lot of the Tea Party was not tied to the Republican Party. And a lot of my Democratic friends forget, you didn't, that the Tea Party began before Obama.
Right.
It began with the bailouts
That's right.
and average working class people pissed off that we're bailing out these big banks and big corporations. That animated the Tea Party, the launch of the Tea Party.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a point that Democrats have to remember and own because, and I think this big, ugly bill has reminded them of that because it is just another big bailout, not bailout, gift to the richest Americans at the expense of workers all over the country. And Democrats,
Yeah.
I think, are on the right side of that by their votes, but their rhetoric isn't tough enough about that.
No, their rhetoric isn't tough enough. And so many of my Democratic colleagues sound like politicians, sound like professors. I need you to fucking sound like you're sitting in a bar and you're about to get into a bar fight with the guy next to you, respectfully. I need Democrats to sound like that.
Yeah, I think we could do both. I mean,
Yes.
you have to be able to be. Bill Clinton was a great
Oh,
explainer, right? But he was also
yeah.
a tough fighter.
Yes.
I mean, let me tell you a story. I once took him, I was helping him out in a primary, and Paul Songas, a much more to the left guy he was running against. And so I took Bill in Chicago to a group of lefties. And like he was the beginning of his campaign, nobody knew. And they said, well, what are you going to do if they put you in a tank, and they do the thing they did to Dukakis and make fun of you? And he says, look, whenever somebody says something about me that's not true, the first thing I do is I ask myself, could they be right? And everybody booed in the room. Like, booed, like, we don't want this. You're not tough enough. And he said, no, wait a minute. And he said, and if they keep, and if I don't think they're right, I'm going to ask them to stop. And they booed again. Like, and then he said, no, wait a minute. And if they keep it up, I'm going to rip their fucking wings off. And that's when people first got an idea of how tough he could be.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's where we are where we come from. He wasn't some elite, wealthy snob. He came from regular America. He worked his ass off, and that came across. You're right. Look, again, politically, you and I may be a little different, but like I grew up with Reagan, and I thought Reagan was an amazing communicator. But the best retail politician I've ever seen in my life was Clinton.
Yep, I agree.
By far.
By far.
By the way, Hillary needed more of that. Hillary needed some of that.
Well, nobody's like Bill. I mean, in that sense of being able to remember everybody's name and who their cousin was, or it's a crazy ability he had.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But so we're not going to have that in the next election because that doesn't happen very often. That you get a guy who's that talented. But I think we'll have fire, and we have a lot to campaign it. Oh my gosh. I mean, you pick it, whether it's the future of our democracy or the future of our economy. I mean, we got a lot to campaign on.
And I think I get beaten up every day because I focus too much on the future of democracy, and people get mad at me. Come on, Joe, you need to talk about regular people and their lives more. But I think you got to talk about both, don't you?
I think yes. And what we haven't done for too long, and it's led to this problem, is connect for people the reason why democracy is good for outcomes that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about Ohio and those really badly gerrymandered states where the elected representatives no longer are responsible to the people. So what happens? Then they don't care about them. So hospital closes, who cares? You got a scandal because we're getting paid by the electric company to subsidize a coal plant that isn't even in our state. Who cares, right? Because we're not working for the voters anymore. So, I mean, democracy's meant to give ordinary people some kind of say to help them get what they want. if they think it's all broken, then they don't, then it doesn't matter, right? But when it's
Yeah.
not broken, then it leads to better outcomes. It's a reason why the middle class did better here than everywhere in the world when it worked.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for a while. I think we've been on the precipice of major political reform for a while. Trump has delayed it because now it's all about just stopping Trump and MAGA, because I do believe it's a fascist movement. But once we do, I think we're going to see major reform in this country. I think we're going to change the way we vote. I think we're going to change the way we do decide on representation. I think there's I'm not opposed to a third and a fourth party. I just think the floodgates might open if and when we can just defeat MAGA and fascism.
Yeah. Well, this moment is so frightening that it's reminded people that we can't just elect folks to office to bring home the bacon or to represent,
Yeah.
you know, one interest or another interest, but we need to go back and have some Madisons elected who think about how power is structured and balanced so that we can restore a balance of a democracy that, after all, after 250 years, it's a little rickety in places and it needs to be shorn up. And some of that's get rid of the dark money. Some of it's to do a different job in designing districts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it might be voting reforms. It might be a whole bunch of things. It's really important that we have that conversation.
You and I are two old white guys. I've been very public in my view. I've never asked you this. This is a 249-year-old experiment.
Mm.
Are you bearish or bullish on this experiment being able to keep it together and last?
Well, this is our biggest test. This is our biggest test. Um, I, I,
Before you answer, I will lead. I'll lead the jury. I'm a dark Irishman, my friend. I'm bearish. I don't know that we can keep it together.
yeah. Oh, the reason I paused was my answer is complicated by the fact that I think in some very important ways we already lost it.
Yeah.
So what I think you want, what I think if I were reframing the question, I would say, can we get it back and build it again? And I think the answer to that is yes. But if you asked, you know, in World War II, if you asked Eisenhower if we were going to win the war 3 weeks after D-Day, he would
Yeah.
have said yes, but he would have also said there's going to be a lot of pain between here and there. A lot of good people are going to suffer. A lot of good
Yeah.
people are going to die. We are in a fight, and people are going to be hurt. I mean, they're going to be hurt by
Yeah.
this president. The economy is going to hurt. He's going to take $2 trillion out of the economy just
Mhm.
because of this tariff fiasco.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
going to hurt people. What he's doing with healthcare is going to hurt people, really hurt people. And I think about Chicago. You know, we've brought crime down to, like, it hasn't been this low in 30 years, and that's true across America. But
Yeah.
the things that are going to drive it back up, when those hospitals close, when we can't do what we're doing in schools because all that funding is gone, it's gonna be a mess again, right? And then he's going to send in his masked thugs. All of this is a real terrible challenge. So to answer your question is, I am an optimist, but I shudder at the pain we have to go through to win it back.
Well, so you and I agree on that half. I think we're short term, we're in for some long, tough years.
Yes.
One other,
Let me ask you a
there is,
different question. Do you
yeah,
think Trump finishes this term?
yes, but 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a
Yeah.
sure thing, right? He's very old. He's clearly getting worse all the time. You know, his mind is, I don't know where. And I'm sure that the knives are out in JD Vance's camp trying to figure out how to push him out. So it's very strange time.
And the people around him with power, and I used to work with some of these people, all of the Project 2025 people.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn how incapacitated he is. They are plowing ahead full speed with their stuff. And Trump like isn't ideological. He probably doesn't even really know what Project 2025 is, but those people around him do.
No, he just knows the number on his crypto wallet. You know.
Yeah.
Joe,
Let me one quickie and then we're done.
Yeah.
I do have weird hope on one thing though, and we don't talk about this enough. All of these tariffs are unconstitutional, period. I think the day's going to come sooner than we think, where the Supreme Court even is going to knock down the whole tariff regime.
Well, I think you might be right. I mean, if it's had its day in court, right, we're supposed to get a ruling pretty soon. So let's just save that for a future conversation because it's going to be rich. Look, this
Hey,
was
this has
fun.
been
Let's
fun,
keep doing
brother.
this. Right.
I would love it.
All right, everybody. Follow Joe Walsh.
Follow Edwin Eisendrath. Thank you, my friend.
Take care. Bye.